Have you ever stepped into your child's home and suddenly felt like a stranger? You arrive carrying stories, smiles, memories to share, yet you are met with distracted glances, hurried nods, short answers, or even prolonged silence. For many elderly parents, such experiences are painfully common. They begin to feel like uninvited guests in the very place they once helped build, a place filled with their sacrifices, their sleepless nights, their love poured out in raising children. This pain does not always come from cruelty or rejection. In truth, most children still love their parents, but life has swept them into its relentless current. Careers, families of their own, and countless responsibilities. Meanwhile, parents in their later years live at a slower rhythm, more reflective, more contemplative, and more eager for presence, care, and emotional connection. This mismatch in rhythms creates an invisible distance, one that feels like a chasm. There are afternoons when parents wait by the phone, hoping for a call, a question, or even a brief check-in. Yet the silence continues. There are visits where they arrive at their child's home with anticipation, only to leave with heavy hearts, their presence scarcely noticed. Many parents swallow this pain, too afraid to voice it, worried they might burden their children or appear needy. But silence only deepens a loneliness, making old age feel heavier than already is. The saddest part is that many parents feel they must keep trying, keep visiting, keep inserting themselves into their children's lives in order to remain relevant. They believe their worth depends on being needed or acknowledged, yet this belief only leads to deeper wounds. When your presence is no longer warmly welcomed, forcing yourself into the space will only make you feel smaller, invisible, and excluded. The pain of elderly parents visiting their children is not about being treated harshly, but about the feeling of losing a place once secure. They were once the anchor, the safe harbor. Now they feel like outsiders in their own family ties. And this is a turning point. Parents must learn to see their value not through the eyes of their children, but through their own sense of worth, dignity, and life experience. For most of their lives, parents tie their sense of identity to their role as caregivers. From the moment a child is born, every joy, sorrow, success, and failure becomes intertwined with that child's growth. But as children mature, build their own families, and carry heavy responsibilities, the connection inevitably shifts. Parents often feel left behind, even forgotten. This is when it becomes vital to remember. Your self-worth does not depend on whether your children need you. Your existence, your character, your love, and the life you have lived are the true evidence of your value. A child's reduced attention does not erase who you are. It simply reflects a reality that they are walking their own path, at their own pace. If parents continue to anchor their happiness in their children's recognition, they will remain trapped in cycles of disappointment. But once they learn to step back from that expectation, they discover that they can live joyfully, peacefully, and with meaning, regardless of external validation. Real worth does not vanish with age. It still shines through wisdom, resilience, and the immeasurable love already given. Even when unspoken, these truths remain. And above all, every parent deserves to take pride in their journey and grant themselves the freedom to live happily, independent of how much attention their children offer. In every relationship, even the sacred bond between parent and child, boundaries are necessary. Many elderly parents continue to sacrifice, always eager to help, even accepting coldness or indifference just to remain close. But this path only deepens emotional wounds. Setting boundaries does not mean cutting ties or abandoning your children. On the contrary, it is about preserving dignity, protecting inner peace, and preventing love from becoming self-neglect. Boundaries help you define what you will accept and where you must stop, so your love does not turn into begging for attention. Some fear that setting limits will make them appear selfish or distant. In truth, it does the opposite. It teaches others, even your children, that real love must include respect. A healthy relationship cannot be one-sided, with only giving and no recognition. Boundaries also release you from false expectations. Constantly hoping your children will change or suddenly notice you more only fuels disappointment. Accepting that each generation has its own path brings peace of mind. It frees you to focus on your well-being rather than chasing validation. Most importantly, boundaries affirm this truth. I deserve respect. I will not allow anyone, even my own children, to make me feel invisible. This strength is not born of anger, but of self-love. And only when you love yourself enough to protect your emotions can you continue to love others without bitterness. In short, setting boundaries is not rejection. It is an act of compassion for yourself and for the relationship. It allows the bond between parent and child to remain honest, healthy, and balanced. After decades of sacrifice, many parents enter old age with a sense of emptiness. They are so used to centering life around their children that they forget how to live for themselves. But this stage of life is precisely the time to reclaim joy and purpose, to live for yourself. Living for yourself does not mean abandoning your children. It means restoring balance, learning to cherish yourself, appreciate the present, and create happiness on your own terms. This can begin with simple joys, savoring a warm cup of tea in the morning, joining a book club, taking afternoon walks with friends, writing your life story, painting, gardening, or caring for a pet. These small acts fill the emptiness, spark new energy, and remind you that fulfillment is still within reach, regardless of age. When you live for yourself, you also teach your children an invaluable lesson, that every person has a right to happiness in their own way. They will see you strong, confident, and serene, and in turn, they will respect and cherish you even more. Living for yourself also means releasing unrealistic expectations. Your children's love still exists, even if it is not expressed the way it once was. Fewer calls or visits do not erase their care. What matters is that you no longer allow those changes to define your worth. Ask yourself each day, what makes me happy? What gives my life meaning? Then pursue those answers with courage. Whether learning something new, traveling, or simply enjoying quiet mornings in your home, you are entitled to every bit of joy. Above all, believe that you deserve a radiant old age. You do not need anyone's approval to live fully. After all, this life is yours, and you have every right to write its final chapters filled with freedom, peace, and happiness.